Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be replacing the radiator on a 1997 F-150 4.6 liter V8 Trident. Now the reason why I'm replacing this today is because it has a leak in it. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how to remove it, show you the process, and yeah, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do is get yourself a, well, first thing first, that make sure the cooling system is actually cold and not hot, because what happens is, since the cooling system gets hotter and hotter, it builds up pressure, and you do not want the liquid from the cooling system to go on your face or anywhere else on your body, because I'm pretty sure that's going to hurt. So first, make sure that your engine is cold, and then from there, go get yourself a drain pan or any kind of pan. This is my oil pan. This is where I pick up oil and stuff, but you can also use this for coolant. It's because apparently coolant is bad for the environment and also for animals. So try and be environmentally responsible. Try to make sure that we're doing the right steps. Alright, so while we are disassembling the top end of the engine for us to get access for the radiator, we should open the radiator valve down there. Let's see if I can get you a good angle. Like down here, like just beneath that, there is a tab right there. That's where you can drain out all the liquid for your radiator and twist that off. Now some of them might be a bolts type style, and some of them you can just do by hand. This one's by hand because this is an aftermarket radiator. So for your OEMs, it might just be a bolt style. Plus, you can get the liquid draining faster. You can open up the cooling system right here. So then it doesn't have to empty out slowly, so you can go down faster. Then once you go down here, you can go and undo it like so. Just like that. See, it's like orangey as well. Also, I have another question for you guys. For any of you who are doing this type of work, do you know why the coolant or the liquid inside of this radiator is orange? Because for some reason it always turns out to become orange and stuff, and I'm not sure why. It looks like it's rust in there, like there's rust in there as well, but that's just only a thing that I saw when I was doing this. Anyways, you're gonna take out this part right here. It's gonna look like this, similar to that. That is what holds in your coolant. That's a drain cock where you can get your liquids out. And since you got that out now, you can just let it drain slowly while you're doing more work. And it's better if you do this as well. Keep it open from the top so it can drain in more faster, so it's not holding air inside the system, having to let the air come out as well. Alright, so what I've seen for this process, I'm gonna show you it, but without me taking out the radiator's fan right here, because there is a way you can take it out, like this big nut right here. I didn't get a crow's foot, or I think it's called a crow's foot, I'm not really sure. And then you have to hit it right there really hard on the that side to get it loose, but I actually don't have the equipment or tools for that, so I'm gonna do it with it on still, but I'm gonna show you how you can do it. Alright, so we're gonna try, well, I'm gonna remove the intake system from here, like this part. So I'm gonna take off this piece and all the way through there, so we get more access, so we can move this more to the side and it's not bothering us. So I'm gonna show you that right now. Alright, so these are 3 bolts, so 1 here and 2 over here on this side right there. And these are both or all 3 of them are 10 mils. So get yourself a 10 millimeter socket or wrench and take them off. Alright, so once you took off all 3 bolts from the side of the cover here, you can just look up and out, and this portion will come out now, like so. You can place it right there, or if not, you can just put it on the ground instead, like that. And then from here, you're gonna have a bolts that you have to remove. It's like a worm clamp type style. So you're gonna get your flathead right there, and you're gonna go and loosen that up. Like that. All right. Once you got it loose enough, you can tug on this a little bit, and there, it pulls out. Now you gotta remove this two hoses on the side. It's this one up here and this one down there. So you tug on that a little bit. Or let's get this one out of the way. Alright. I got the lower one out and the top one out, just like that. And now you loosen the top piece right here where it connects to the intake manifold. Now down from here, you are gonna have this. It's pretty easy. You can just pull up like that. You go like this, move it to the side a little bit, and you will have two connectors. One's right here. You just push down on it and then pull up like that. And then you have another one that is down here. It kind of goes to this portion, like it goes down to that piece down there. So you see that thing, yeah, that's where the wiring harness goes to. So from there you're gonna do the same thing. All right, there, I had to use two hands, but I got it out. That connector goes to this one right here, and once you disconnect those two from the bottom and that part, this should be able to lift up like that as a whole entire assembly. And you can place that gently on the ground. Do not just throw it, because there is sensors in there and you do not want to break them. Just place them down like that, and it gives you a whole lot more room so you can work on this radiator. Alright, so next up that we're going to do is remove this radiator hose clamp up here on the top. You can use pliers or this special type of plier type of tool that I have here. They are these types of style, like this. It has like a wire on it, and you can press down on it and it holds it down for you. It's pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to be using. It makes the job much more easier. So that's what I'm going to be trying right now. Alright, and just like that, we got it loose enough that we can remove. Just wiggle it out. Just like that. Oh, some coolant came out, but luckily the drain pan's right under it, so should be perfectly fine. You can move that to a side. And just like that, it's pretty easy, honestly. I recommend this tool if you can get it. Doesn't cost that much, and it's pretty easy if you gotta do things by one hand. So there we got the upper portion of your radiator tube out. It's pretty rusty. You can see it down there, all rusty and stuff. So now what we're gonna take off is these two bolts right here. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's one on each side. One right here, and one right here. Now, I think these are 8 mils, but I'm gonna check real quick. Yeah, I was right. So these are both 8 mils right here. It's only 2. There's one on each side, and that's to hold on the fan shroud. This part right here, and that piece right there. And for that side, I did have to use an extension but for the other side, I did not have to. This is what I used. Especially if you can use electric type of ratchets, they're much more better because you just push them down and it takes it off for you. Or you can just use a regular ratchet and it'll still work as fine. Alright, so next up, before we take off the radiator fan shroud, we have to remove this plastic cover on here. So as you can see, it looks like someone has already been in here before, because most of these clips here are gone. Like there's supposed to be some right here, another one right there, another one right here, another one right here as well. So there's supposed to be like 6, and there's only 2 up here. So there's one here and there's one up here. But for your vehicle, it may vary. Maybe yours has them all, maybe it doesn't. What we can do is just pry on this, like how you see this part right there. I'm sure. Yeah, so you see how there's like a little divot inside of it, right there. You get yourself some like a screwdriver or something with a flathead on it, so you can go and pull on this. And how this works is actually, let me show you real quick. Hold on. All right, so I just used a pair of pliers and I did the same thing. So you're gonna pull on the head just like that, up, like that. Now sometimes it does come out in 2 pieces, but it shouldn't really come out like this. But there's the piece. You just make sure you reattach it back when it's done. You can pull on this clip and then pull it right out. All right, so how this part works is that you have this clip right here. Hold on, there you go. You got this clip right here, and then there's a hole in it. This part's just going here. So once you're done with it, you just put it back in. But don't put it all the way back, because how this type of clip style works, they push it in, but once you push it all the way in, these little pins come out, so then it actually holds on to this piece right here. So once you put it in, only have it in like up to here, to where it just meets, and then put it in and you push it inside. I'll show you that also when I'm reinstalling it. But the same thing works for all the clips. It's just I only have one more, so I'm gonna do that real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so once you're done taking off all the clips, like from these little holes, so like I said, I'm pretty sure there's only 6 of them. I counted them, there's only 6, 4 at the bottom and 2 on the top on each side right there. Now from here, make sure you remove all your tools so it doesn't fall over or anything. You can lift up on this, pull it towards you a little bit, and up and out, and then that whole entire piece will be exposed now. Alright, so just make sure you put it somewhere down, and you have all this room now. And I try to be careful because there's some pieces of sharp metal that could cut you up, especially on this radiator piece right here. Like, these edges are pretty sharp, so be careful with that. You can pull up here, pull up like so, and it's not a lot of room, but it is enough that'll get you by. Hold on, like I said before, it's not really a bunch of room, but it's enough that you have just enough they can get through and finish the job without taking off the big radiator fan on it. So from there, you can look down there, you're almost done. From here, you're gonna get your alright, so what we're gonna need is a flare nut wrench for these 2 radiator coolant lines. They're both steel. There's one up here and one that's kind of a bear that's to get to, that's down there. Yeah, right there. So right above that lower coolant hose, that's where your other transmission cooler line is. So you got to remove both of those. You're gonna have to use a flare nut wrench for this, because if not, you could strip out the bolts that hold on to the radiator, and then that's gonna be a pretty bad day, because then you gotta remove all that and replace it. But I'll be right back. And also, if this whole entire assembly does move, you will need to get a bigger wrench, one for this side right here where the radiator is. So I'm gonna see what type of size is that real quick. Also, before I almost forget, there's gonna be another hose up here that connects to the radiator that goes to the coolant reservoir, and from there you have to pull that clip off with the hose. So you can use some needle nose and you can pull that right off. Shouldn't be that difficult. Alright, so it wasn't actually too bad. You can just pull on the clip right here with that. And since there's kind of not a lot of space, I recommend to get some smaller needle nose pliers like this, and then you can try and clip onto it like right here, so you can slide it out and you can pull on the hose and it should come right out. And that should give you more room so you can get better access to this upper transcooler line up here. Alright, so I actually didn't have the proper wrench in the size I needed, so I'm using an adjustable wrench, and apparently I'm pretty sure this measures in millimeters, but that's a 24 millimeter for this side when it wants to move, because what the problem was that's happening is I have my flare nut wrench on it, but this whole entire part right here started moving. So what I had to do is grab the adjustable wrench and put it on this side right there, and then get their flare nut wrench. Also, if I didn't mention this in the video, it is 1.5. Is a 1.5, or it's a 1/2 inch. Sorry about that. It's 1/2 inch. And yeah, you put it on here, because if you don't use this flare nut, you could strip it from this side right there. Alright, I think they can do when you got to break the nut loose for this line, you can use a open end wrench, and it is a 13 millimeter, or for that it's 1/4 or 1/2, or you can use a 1/2 inch right there as well, depending on your standard or metric, whichever tools you decide to use for the job. Those are your measurements right there. Alright, so I'm on the lower transcooler line. I took the one off top right there. You can see it, that piece of metal wire, it's up there. So now I'm down here below. So a tip that I got for you, if you can't reach it from the top, because previously I was gonna do it from the top side, but if you moved your steering wheel before that you actually did the procedure of taking this off, before you took off your cooler lines, like your trans cooler line and also your engine coolant, then move the wheel this way, because this will benefit you a lot. And move the wheel well liner onto the side. Now I think this thing has already been moved a lot, because it looks like it's already been cut already. And I just moved it here because there was no bolts holding onto it anymore, so I slid it that side, and then it works from here, and then you can get more access to these coolers right here for your engine coolant and your trans coolant right there. So yeah, I just want to share that with you guys. And yeah, all right, so now I finished with the radiator hose down below, and also the transmission cooler lines. So like I said before, it's much more easier if you can go on the side down here and go through here and take off that, remove the fender liner right there, and then you can just remove the clips from there. Because if you try to do it from the top, we got less room. So if you just move those couple things on the side, then you can get way more access, and you can put your pan on there before any remaining coolant that stays. But the next process, instead of for removing the radiator, is to take off these bolts for the brackets that keep it holding it straight. But since someone also has been in here before, I think they replaced the radiators as well before this one decided to leak. I think they lost one of the bolts, and this one is not an OEM. So if your truck doesn't have that, because it's not gonna be the same one, you're gonna have this type of style of bolt. And this one is actually an 8 millimeter, just like the other ones I showed before, the ones on the side right there, the 8 mil and the 8 mil over there on these sides. So just make sure you have your 8 millimeters ready, so you can take off the bolts for the bracket. And just like that, after you remove those two bolts that are holding on to the bracket, you can just lift up on these things, like just like that. It's really not that hard. It's pretty easy. Just pull up and out, and there's your two brackets right there as well. So also be worried about this, because I think the reason why that they didn't use the old hardware, or maybe they lost it, is because there's like a J clip that should have been right there, because on this side there's a clip right here, and it looks like that's where the threads go. But since that side doesn't have it, I think they couldn't find it, so that's why they use different hardware. Alright, so from there, your radiator should be ready to come out. At this point, nothing much else to do. You can just lift up and out. Now, I do need two hands for this, so I'll be right back. Alright, well, I took out the radiator now. It is right here with the fan thing as well, the fan shroud. So what I did is actually angled it this way, so you move it up and post it closer to this side right here, and you have to angle it kind of upwards on this side right here. So for me it's to be my left, but if you're inside it's your right. So right here, angle it closer to the battery right, and then try to pull it out and up, and then once you get it past through the radiator fan, then the whole entire thing should come out as a whole entire assembly, like that, without you having taken out the radiator fan without using a tool like that. So that's an easier way for you to do it. And there it is right here. Now it looks like it leaks from the, this part right here, because the rest of it, well, looks all perfectly fine, but this side's where more orangey, and that's where it looks like where it leaked. So I'm just waiting on the replacement radiator, and I'll be right back to show you how to install it. Alright, and yeah, that's how you take out your radiator. Like I said before, I'm just waiting on the parts person to come by so I can get the new radiator and install it and show you how to do that. But yeah, this is how the inside of, well, your truck looks like without a radiator, just like that. Now also, I really shouldn't have to say this, but I have to for some reason. Do not start your truck without the radiator turned on. You know, some people are think that makes sense, but you know, sometimes you're gonna forget sometimes, because these cooler lines right here, well, once you turn on the truck, not just like the vehicle has no more coolant, also the transmission is starting to run now, which means it starts throwing radiator, well, not radiator, but transmission fluid out, and it'll make you a mess. And what else you gotta do to make that mess? You gotta clean up the mess, and after that you gotta replace the transmission fluid. So, you know, just be careful. But yeah, kind of looks like all empty and stuff. It's all orange in there too. It's like orangey and flaky. I think this is all rust. I'm wondering, do your guys, like, does your vehicle also have rust, like from this type of generation from F-150s? Because I'm pretty sure this one only has it because they put in tap water and not distilled water or coolant. But maybe it's just like an F-150 type thing for this year. You can also look down there. Yeah, it's pretty orangey down there as well. Yeah. Alright, so I was doing some test fitting to make sure it fits inside, and it works perfectly fine. I put it down to its mounting brackets here, up here, and up here. It's not bolted down, but it's still there. And then you got some pegs down there where you got mounted onto that are down here. And so you can slide under to show you. Alright, so somewhere around there, like down there where that black piece is, like that's where your mounts are for the lower piece of the radiator. Is where your hoses are at. But also another problem that I'm seeing is that for these aftermarket radiators, the transmission fittings right here that bolt in here, they don't fit at all. So I have to transfer these from the old one onto this new one because they don't fit. They're just a bit too small. I tried threading in, but they won't fit completely, and they're kind of a hassle to put back inside. So I have to take the radiator back out and put in the old transmission cooler fittings. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. Also, whenever you're ordering a radiator, especially if you're doing it online, check the radiator on your vehicle to make sure it's a 2-row or 1-row, because some of these trucks come with a 1-row radiator, which is much more thinner, and this one specifically comes with a 2-row, which means you gotta get more beefier ones, cost a bit more money, but you gotta make sure you get the right one, because if not, it can cause some overheating issues later down in the future. Alright, so I'm back now. Alright, so what we did is change out the fittings for the transmission cooler lines here and right here. So this is what they previously looked like that. For this type of fitting, I used this socket right here, and for the original OEM ones, I only used this one. It's 23mm. That's for the original one, and the aftermarket ones, to take it off, I used this. Now these are pretty helpful because you could still get a wrench in there, but what happens is they start scraping on it, and I'm not sure if that can cause any future leaks. And also another thing they got to make sure is that whenever you're changing out these fittings, since they're old and you have to replace them still, take out these old O-ring gaskets that are in there and replace them with the new ones that came with the actual hardware. So replace them, put them in there, and it should fit. And so that's just to make sure you don't have any leaks future in the near future. So yeah, I hope that helps. I'm gonna install this right now and show you how it looks. Alright, so as you can see, the radiator is back into the vehicle. Now it did take a little bit of finagling. So what I did is put this radiator fan shroud back on first, right here, and then here, just slide it in. If you can get a second person, be much more helpful. But what you gotta do is pass on these clips right here. These got this tab where it bolts up to the radiator right there, and so like I was saying before, it bolts up right here. So you gotta make sure you pass these and this down there, and then once you got it down there, it's all ready for this side. Now for here, for you to get passed through here, it does get stuck on the little plastic fin clip, like that piece right there, that little black piece. That's where it's also mounted down to the bottom, so it can stay in place. Now for you to get it past there, you got to move these lines. Don't try and pull them, because what this is your AC line, so you do not want to burst them, because that'll be pretty bad. So you just got to do is move it a bit more, so then it can pass the line over the clips, so you can get it through without breaking any tabs or you know, making more of a mess than you have to. And from there you can slide it just down. Make sure you pass the two tubes, this upper and this lower tube down there, and it should line up down there just like that. It's got it installed. Now I'm gonna be putting on the hardware back on it and the transmission cooler lines. Alright, so that was a little bit of a pain, but I got the these brackets for the upper radiator. I got them up here, and the other one's over here. They're bolted down. Make sure you reattach your hose clamp down here with the lower not the lower, but the smaller hose. It goes on there. And your cooler lines, make sure you bolt down your piece right here. So there's a bolt there, that's an 8mm, and down there right here, that's also an 8mm. But make sure you have this fan shroud in place, because there's like clips down here, right there on the other side as well. You got to slide it into, so then it can actually fit onto radiator and not shake around, just like that. It's not gonna move. And then from here, you're gonna make sure you connect your lower radiator hose down there as well. And well, yeah, the only thing that took the longest time for it to be finished was these transmission cooling lines. Now I'm not sure why, but for some reason these things aren't the best for you to put them back inside, because you feel like you're gonna cross thread them. But luckily we got them in there and nothing bad happened. But now it's time for us to go put the plastic cover back onto this thing right here. Alright, and once you got your plastic cover piece, I'm not sure what we call this upper piece of plastic up, you're just gonna make sure it slides under, and when it's ready, because you'll feel like it's snugged in place, but not almost yet, like that. But make sure you slide it under this part right here, where you go like that, so you can pull up the hood. And then from there, you just put back your push pins, but since I only have 3 of them, I'll just do them right now. But for you might have all 6 of them, like I said before, and some of them you might not. But once you're done, just put back your clips back on. Make sure they're properly fitted in, and you just push down like that. So once you got them in there, you just push down on this upper plastic piece, and that's how they fit in. Also, another thing for these cooler lines, once you got them in there and you know that you got the threads in right, you can use an open end wrench, so you no longer have to use the other wrench that you have to use, so you can take this off, so you can make the process a bit more faster, so you can finish much more earlier. That's the only thing I want to say. And once you're done reinstalling this part of the intake, then make sure you tighten down your worm clamp right here. Make sure it's tight. Then reconnect your 2 hoses, one up here, well, not the hoses, but this piece right here, and the hose down here. And from there, you're gonna go and connect your 2 connectors for this piece for the sensors. So you got one here, and you got one that goes down here, like so. Yeah, that one down there. Now when you got those in, whenever you hear a little click sound, and then from there you're gonna reattach your air filter to the rest of the intake by just going like that. You're just gonna do it like this. It's gonna push it back in. And it's all set from there. Alright, so if you also have this, then you're also gonna have your cover that goes on top of here, but I know some trucks don't. But if you do, I'm sure you how to do that as well. Alright, and now once you got your 3 bolts, there's 2 right there, one over there. All 3 of those are all 10 mils. So from there, now you're gonna get ready to add your coolants. Now I'm gonna be adding some antifreeze in here, and well, I'm be using some universal antifreeze, so I'm gonna do that real quick, and I'll tell you how much coolant it will take. Oh, yeah, also another thing, whenever you're gonna add your coolant, make sure you grab yourself a funnel so you don't spill it everywhere. And that's just another thing that I wanted to add. Alright, so I just added 3 bottles of coolants, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough. I might need a 4th bottle. Because it is gonna suck some in because there's air inside of there, so we gotta let the truck run for a little bit and see what's going on. So I'm gonna bring you to the truck inside so you can learn about the bleeding procedure so you can continue. Alright, so what you're gonna do is turn on your truck like it is right now. Things onto high and make sure you have it on high heat so it can suck as most coolant as it can. So you're gonna try to do that for a little bit until the truck's there, and let it idle for a second so it can suck in more and more coolant. Then I'm gonna go to the front and see how it looks. Alright, so now we're at the front. It doesn't look that bad, actually pretty good. It might need just a bit more, but I think with 3 bottles it should be okay, although I would say you should check this out still, just in case. But besides that, I think it should be fine. You just let all the air just come out. And yeah, that's about it. Also make sure you check out your drain pan from the bottom, I already did already. Alright, so once you're done with adding the coolant into your system, then you can go back and turn off your truck. Alright, now when it's turned off, you can see there's still bubbles in there, but it should finish airing out in a while. But yeah, for me it looks like it took just only 3 bottles of coolants. For you, maybe 4. But I say just keep on looking at this just in case. Yeah, but besides that, your truck should be ready to go. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If it is, please drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.